Hi, I'm Reagan. Welcome to your 30-minute yoga practice. For our practice today, we are focusing on shoulder opening, working up towards a pose called Prasarita Padottanasana C. So it's that standing wide-legged fold with your hands clasped and bound behind your back. And I'm personally working on that pose a lot in my yoga practice, working to get my hands closer to the floor. So this yoga practice will include and incorporate a lot of movements and shoulder opening to help prepare you for greater range of motion and stretch in your shoulders. This is suitable for all levels, so glad to have you here, and let's get started. We will meet on our backs in fallen bridge. So it's like you're setting up for bridge pose, but walk your feet a little bit wider. Then knock your knees into touch. Now reach your arms overhead just to start a shoulder opener right here. Arms overhead. You can either goal post your arms, that'll give you a little more, or just reach them straight up overhead. Take a moment just to soften. Even though it's a bit of an active pose here and you should feel a lot of stretching in your shoulders, find ease as well. Find stillness, find softness, and tune into your breath. In this practice, we allow our breath to be our guide. If we start to lose it, just notice why. Usually if we lose track of our breath, it's because we're either pushing ourselves too far in a pose or because we're not being present. Our mind is trailing off elsewhere. It's not in this moment. And maybe life isn't so much about what we make of it, but rather it's about what we make of what happens to us. We can't control the external. We can't control what other people say or do, or these external kind of stressful situations that happen. But we can choose how we respond. And the highest aspect of ourselves, the most wise, the most knowledgeable, most ideal version of ourselves. Like if we could be in a perfect dream world, what would we be like? How would that version of ourselves respond to certain things? And that's really powerful to ask ourselves. And it's something I've been focusing on doing a lot recently. What would my highest self, is what we call it in yoga, a big S self, what would we do in that situation? If someone treated us rudely or said something mean, how do we respond? I know the highest version of me would respond with compassion, with love for all beings. Sometimes my emotional self gets aggravated, gets upset, offended, right? In our yoga practice, when we can't do a pose or we fall out of a pose, how does that highest version of ourselves respond? And how can we strive to be a little more like that? Take one more breath here, biggest one yet. Inhale, fill up, belly, rib cage, chest, and exhale out. Now hug both knees into your chest, give yourself a big squeeze, and begin to add in some movements, just rocking side to side. And roll your ankles here. On your next inhale, it's a good morning stretch. So arms come back to where they were, legs out long. Use your core to lower your legs down. And then on your next exhale, hug your legs back in. Forehead to your knees this time. Inhale, open up, reach overhead. Exhale, round, hug in. Last two, inhale, open. Slow, lower, and activate your core. Hug both knees in. Last one, inhale, open. Exhale, hug in. Great, from here, lower down and goal post your arms. Now keep your shoulders glued to your mat as much as possible. You'll rock your legs left, they just hover over the floor. So not all the way down, they just hover. And then switch legs, hover right. Again, legs hover left. And legs hover right. Take it side to side. Now if your low back is tight, it should also be a really nice low back release. I personally love doing this one to help my low back release. Take one more each side. And then return through center. Hug both knees in. All the way up to sit in a comfortable seat, Sukhasana. Sukhasana means easy, easeful, comfortable. We'll twist to our right. Left hand comes outside your right knee. Gaze over your right shoulder. Take a breath in and a breath out. Keep your left hand grounded on your right knee. Reach your right arm up and over. So your left shoulder is dipping down towards your left knee. Right arm reaches up and over. Now be conscious of your right hip. It may start floating up off your mat, but keep pressing it down. Create length on the right side of your body. Peel open. If you want a little more, option to bend your right elbow, right hand behind your head. So during our practice, let's embody that highest, most ideal version of ourselves. If you could wave a magic wand and be anyone, anything you wanted, what would you feel like? How do you respond to things in your practice and in your life? Rise up. And then we'll switch. So right hand comes outside your left knee. Left hand reaches back, look back. Keep pressing. And then left arm reaches overhead. So dip your right shoulder down towards your right knee. Create length in your left side body. Notice if this side feels any different. And again, if you want more, bend your left elbow, hand behind your head. Keep rotating open. Notice that opening in your shoulder. Last full breath. Inhale, rise. Now bring your hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, palms together, heart up. Look up and draw your knuckles down. Breathe in. On your next breath out, tuck your chin into your chest, look down, start to round forward. You're rounding through your whole spine. Notice that in your rib cage. Arms overhead. Forehead towards the mat. And then keep pressing your hands forward like you're trying to touch the wall away from you. One more breath. Inhale, rise. And then release, shake it out. From here, we'll meet in a tabletop. Hands come to your mat. You can either roll over your knees or send your legs behind you. And just shake your hips side to side, circle it out. Your next inhale, lower your belly, pull your heart through, look up to the sky. On your next exhale, arch your back, chin to chest, belly button to spine. Inhale for cow, lower down, look up. And exhale for cat. I got my cat Ivy over here doing cat pose too on her back. Inhale, open up. And exhale, round. And take a few more rounds of your cat and cows, just like that. Feel free to add in some extra movements. So you can shift side to side. Like I said, we're really focusing on shoulders for our practice today. So any ways that you can move that feel good in your shoulders, that open them up a little more, feel free to do so. And take one more round of breath here. Now come through center, we'll meet in puppy pose. So big toes come to touch, maybe knees walk a tiny bit wider. Hips stay stacked over your knees and crawl your arms forward. Soften your chest down. Open up through your heart. Your heart is melting through your mat, chin towards your mat. Create a length through your spine. This pose is a heart opener. It is a back bend. It can be uncomfortable. So how does that highest, most ideal version of you show up during times of discomfort, during times of challenges? On your next inhale, Sphinx pose, bend your elbows, shift your hips forward, heart down. Look up slightly, shoulders pull back, chest forward. So it's like the Sphinx in Egypt, you're proud through your chest. Allow your right ear to melt towards your right shoulder, finding a stretch to the left side of your neck. And keep pressing up and draw your shoulders away from your ears. And we'll switch left ear, left shoulder. And we'll switch. Now gaze straight down to your mat to find length through your spine and neck. Lower all the way to your belly, goal post your arms. From here, bend your right knee. We'll roll onto the left side so right leg comes up and over. This feels like too much on your left arm. You can always straighten it out. So instead of the bend, you just straighten. And come through center so we can switch it out. Right elbow bends, your arm straightens. Bend your left knee, heel to your glute. Open up to the right side. And come back through center. From here, hands under your shoulders. Tuck your toes. So option 1 is to press through tabletop. Option 2 is through a high plank. Inhale. Tabletop or plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hips to the sky. Heels towards the earth. Start to invite in some movement. Lift and lower your heels. Pedal out your feet. Shift forward and back. And last 2 breaths of movement. Notice what shows up here. What can you invite into your practice? What do you choose to embody in your practice? Can you embody love, compassion, kindness, grace? Come to stillness. Now spin the insides of your elbows forward. So you should feel a little bit of a rotation in your shoulders as you do so, and then keep pressing up through your shoulders. This will open them and strengthen them a little more. Your next inhale looks forward. Exhale, walk your feet to your hands. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Bend your knees a lot, ragdoll. Grab onto opposite elbows. So head, neck, and chest hang heavy. So just sway side to side. Nod your head yes. Shake your head no. Let go of some tension and tightness in your neck. Release your fingertips to the earth. As you inhale, slowly roll all the way up to stand. Your head is the last thing to rise. Once you arrive to Tadasana Mountain Pose, arms reach for the sky. Create as much length as possible in this pose. You're reaching arms up as you draw your shoulders down. Breathe in. Breathe out, hands together at heart center. Soften your shoulders down your back. Inhale here. Exhale out. On your next inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Bend your knees, shift back into your heels. Reach your arms up to frame your ears and tuck your tailbone under. Big breath in. Exhale out. Reach your hands behind you. Lift your heels up. You're shifting into the balls of your feet. Bend your knees and sit a little lower. Interlace your hands behind your back and squeeze your shoulders together. Pretend there's a pencil or something really small between your shoulder blades. Squeeze it in. Now drop your heels. Lift your hips. Keep your bind down fold. So walk your feet hips width distance apart if they're not. Bend your knees a little more. So like your ragdoll, keep pressing your arms forward. Now look down and through your legs, hips up to the sky. Breathe in. Breathe out. Release your hands down to the earth. Roll out your shoulders for a moment. Left hand down, bend into your left knee. Float your right arm up. Circle out your right wrist. And circle out your right shoulder. Maybe even put a goal posting it a bit. And then we'll switch right hand down on your next inhale. Float your left arm up. Start to circle out your left wrist and left shoulder. Goal posting it if that feels good. And release, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Create a length through your spine. Exhale to fold. Step back to your high plank. Inhale. Exhale, chaturanga. Optional, lower down halfway, tops of feet to the mat. Inhale, upward dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Hips up, heels up. So again, same as before, we're pressing to our shoulders and spinning the insides of our elbows forward to create length. This time as you inhale, float your right leg up to the sky. And as you exhale, bend your knee, open your hip, and invite in some movement. Circle it out, bend and extend. Add in some movement. On your next inhale, three-legged dog, right leg lifts up. And on your exhale, step your right foot between your hands. Drop your left knee down. You can always heel to your right foot up if you need. Low lunge as you breathe in, Anjaneyasana. Arms reach for the sky. Create length through your spine. Option for hands in prayer. Come into your back bend here. During your back bend, press your heart up. Pull your biceps back. Gaze to the ceiling. Your back toes can be tucked or untucked. Breathe in. Breathe out. Half splits. Ardha Hanumanasana. So hips back. Chest down. Now in your half splits, reach your arms back. Clasp your hands just like we took earlier. Press your hands up. Now move between those two poses a few times. So inhale, come forward, reach up. Optional back bend, I recommend it. Exhale, take it back. Clasp your hands, arms up. Inhale, forward, Anjaneyasana. Exhale, backwards, Ardha Hanumanasana. The last two, inhale up. Exhale, back. And final one, inhale up. Exhale, back. From here, release your hands. It's a high lunge. Shift into your front knee. Heel up. Hips in line. You're really opening to that left hip flexor. So keep that left leg strong and engaged and bend into your right knee 90 degrees. Breathe in here. Breathe out to warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2, left heel melts down. Feel the arch alignment in this pose. 90 degrees in the front knee, chin over your right shoulder. Find length from palm to palm. Inhale, peaceful warrior. Bring your left hand to your left leg. Float your right arm up and back. Create space to the right side of your body and stay low on your right knee. Breathe in. Breathe out. Hands come to frame your right foot. Step back to high plank. Option 1 is just to press back to down dog. Option 2 is chaturanga, lower and up dog. And exhale to downward dog. Now in your downward dog, breathe in. Breathe out. It's one more inhale. And one more exhale. On your inhale, left leg floats up. On your exhale, bend your knee, open your hip. Add in some movement on this side. Circle it out, bend and extend. Get creative and take what feels good to you. One more breath. Find your way back to your three-legged dog. Inhale. You exhale, step through. Drop your right knee. Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Add in the back bend if you wish. Biceps pull back, heart up so you're not dumping into your low back, but rounding through your entire spine rather. Gaze to the sky. Inhale, fill up your heart. And exhale, send your hips back, Ardha Hanumanasana. Spill out some love, give it out to others. And release your hands, palms high, forehead towards your knee. Same thing as the other side. On your next inhale, come forward, reach up, open your heart to receiving. Exhale, take it back and give. Find a few more rounds just like that. As we inhale, we're receiving energy and life force from the universe. And as we exhale, we're sending it out. Last two. And last one. Take it back. Okay, release your hands. We'll bend into our left knee. Really strong. Firmly ground through your legs. Inhale, rise up. High lunge. You're reaching for the sky. What are you grabbing onto? What are you reaching for? Breathe in. Breathe out to your warrior 2. Virabhadrasana 2. Chin over your left shoulder this time. Pull your arms apart. Notice that sensation in your shoulders if you're really pulling your arms apart, like someone's grabbing them and pulling them each way. Inhale, peaceful. Right hand to your right leg. Left arm up and back. Big breath in. Big breath out. It's one more inhale. Exhale, hands to your mat. Find your way to downward dog. So optional chaturanga, lower. Inhale, upward facing Urdhva Mukha. Exhale, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Hips up, heels melt. Keep drawing your shoulders back, spin your elbows forward. Okay, we've got one more flow each side. Then we'll start to slow down already. On your next inhale, right leg lifts up. Exhale to warrior 1 stance. So right foot steps forward, left foot hops up a little bit. It should be at a 45-degree angle, so your toes are facing toward the left top corner of your mat. Ground through your feet firmly like our high lunge, and inhale, rise up. Now pull your left hip in line with your right. Bend a little more into your right knee. Release your hands behind your back. Interlace your fingers. Squeeze your shoulders in. Inhale, look up. Breathe in one more time. Breathe out, humble warrior. Start to bow forward. Right shoulder inside of your right knee. Chin to chest. Forehead towards your right ankle. Keep pressing your arms overhead. From here, start to straighten your chest over your right leg. Okay, this is optional. You can keep your hands or release them. We start to shift into the right foot, gaze to your right foot. Option 1 is just release them. Lift up half splits. Option 2, keep your bind and start to lift your left leg. Maybe it's just a little bit. It doesn't have to be all the way to a half split. You can just play with hovering your foot out of your warrior 1. Maybe you come all the way up into your half splits. And it's okay if you wobble. It's okay if you fall out. I did too. Doesn't have to be perfect. Release your hands down to the mat wherever you are. Step your left foot back. Runner's lunge. Crawl your hands over to your left. We're coming into a wide-legged fold. Prasarita Padottanasana C. So this is the pose I was speaking about at the beginning in our intro. Hands come down, hips up. The hands should be about in line with your feet if you can. And then fronts of your elbows are facing the same direction as your fingers and toes. The backs of your elbows are facing back behind you. Now bend your elbows, lift your hips up, head towards the floor. Totally fine if it's not touching, but think you're working towards that. So it's like a piece of paper folding in half. I always love saying that. Bow down. I like to shimmy my elbows kind of behind my legs as well, and that will help you to create that tension to bow. Chin into your chest. One more breath. Now release it. We'll take the bind next round, but this time turn your left toes out, right toes out. We'll bend into one knee and bend into the other. Take a couple rounds and then start to add in a twist. So as you bend into your left knee, the left arm reaches up. As you bend into your right knee, right arm reaches up. Again, bend into your left knee, left arm up. And right knee, right arm up. You can speed this up, you can slow it down. It's up to you. This is your practice. You're taking what you need here. And come back through center. From here, walk your hands to frame your right foot. Step back to high plank. Optional chaturanga to your downward facing dog. In your down dog, breathe in. Breathe out. Let's take that last flow. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale, step forward, warrior one, set up. Pop your right foot forward a bit. Train track your feet so they're not fully in line. They're a bit away from each other. Inhale, rise up. Arms reach for the sky. Bend into your left knee, hips in line. Soften your shoulders down your back. Breathe in. Breathe out, release your hands behind you. Interlace your fingers, squeeze your shoulders in. Open your heart, look up. Be open to receiving, open to giving, open to showing up as that highest expression, and start to bow. Humble warrior. Can we show up a little more humbly in our lives, in our practice? It's not always about doing the most fancy pose. It's about doing what feels best for us. And it's great if you love asana, you love postures and want to improve them. That's amazing. I do too. But can we also honor the practice for what it is, right? What it gives us, even if it's not perfect, even if we take something really simple and gentle. Chest comes over your left thigh. I think that's super important too. Now play with lifting up, standing splits, optional bind. So again, you can just lower your hands, take your right leg. Or if you want to try to bind, hands stay clasped. Gaze to your left foot. Your drishti is so important. Right leg up. Keep kicking, kicking, kicking. Then release your hands. We'll step back to runner's lunge. Now walk your hands over to the right. Prasarita Padottanasana. And then we'll prep for Prasarita C. So C is the hand bind. Interlace your fingers. Bow forward, arms overhead. And you're trying to get your hands to the floor. Not quite there yet, but we're trying to get our hands to the floor in this. So in order to do so, we're lifting our hips up, chin to chest, bowing, bowing, bowing. Press your hands down. Someone's pressing on them. One more breath. And release, hands down to the mat. Turn your right toes out. Bend into your right knee. This time we sit. This always feels good. And add in a side stretch. Left arm up. Peel open. Look up. Skandasana to the top. Side stretch. Come back through center. Hands come to frame your left foot. Final option for your chaturanga. Lower. Inhale, upward dog. Urdhva Mukha. Exhale, downward facing dog. Drop your knees to your mat, hips to heels. Child's pose. We've done a lot in our shoulders, so you can keep your arms forward if this feels good, or option in this child's pose to reach your arms back. So you're wrapping them around your legs, reaching for your heels. And breathe, soften. Notice your in and out breath. And you consciously deepen them. Can you make them a little more even? Can you allow your breaths to feel cleansing? With each inhale, we're inviting in that next version of ourselves, the most ideal, the highest expression of ourselves. With each exhale, we're letting go of pieces we don't want to incorporate into that. Release your arms, press up to table, shift side to side. Now come to sit. Feet together, knees out wide. Inhale to a long spine and exhale down. Folding over your legs in butterfly or bound angle, Baddha Konasana. Draw your shoulders away from your ears, hinge from your hips. Breathe. Be. And it's not just a snap of the finger that we can evolve into that highest, most ideal version of ourselves. But how can we get a daily practice to connect with that version of ourselves? I notice for me, I really love traveling, and when I'm traveling, I feel like I'm way more connected to that version of me. So I get curious about why. What do I do when I'm traveling that's different? How do I show up that's different? And I notice ways I can embody that while I'm at home. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, close your knees, and then slowly lower to your back. So when I'm traveling, I'm a bit more adventurous, I'm more free-spirited, open-minded, I'm more easeful. I actually take time to do all the things I love that when I have a busy day at home, I don't necessarily do. So how can I try to prioritize time for those more? How can I try to find adventure more? Maybe take a moment here to think about how you can do the same in your life. When have you felt like the most true, most authentic version of you? How can you incorporate that a little more into your day or your week? How can you invite in those aspects? When you're ready, it's a supine twist to the right. Gaze left. Take a moment to reflect. And we'll switch legs left, look right. Return through center, hug both legs in, forehead to knees. Breathe in. Breathe out. Noticing any differences you feel in your body since the beginning of your practice. Any differences in your mind and your spirit. Gently release. Final Shavasana. Legs out long, arms to your sides, or hand to heart, hand to belly. With eyes closed, give yourself these next few minutes for stillness, for silence, and for you to be. To be with that version of you. And I will call you out when it's time. Final Shavasana. When you're ready, Begin to bring awareness back to your breath, back to your body. Start to invite some movement into your hands and feet. Reach your arms overhead for a good morning stretch, and then hug both knees in. Take a moment to show yourself some gratitude, kindness, and to connect with that highest, most authentic version of you. Invite them in. When you're ready, press up to a comfortable seat. We'll find one last breath here together. So eyes are still closed, hands come to heart center, shoulders relax. Inhale, fill up. Exhale it out. Send peace out to those around you. Sharing what you've cultivated with others around you. The light and the love in me sees and honors that exact same light and love in each and every one of you, because we're all one and the same. Together we bow forward. Namaste. Thank you so much for taking the time to practice with me. It really does mean the world, and this is what I love doing. So grateful that you're here. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and be alerted of new videos, and check out my channel for more. I'll see you next time.